Hi everybody, welcome back. I want to share with you how you build an audience. Building an audience is really important for any entrepreneur, for personal brands, for companies. And there are specific things that you can do and that you have to do in order to create that environment where you're going to be able to build an audience. So let's jump right into it. Number one, you need a platform. Now, there are platforms like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Medium, but these aren't your platforms. These are somebody else's platforms. And ultimately, yes, you have to start there. That's where you may be posting the majority of your content. But you want to develop and build a destination to send those people to that you own. And that's generally a website. So you got to have your own website, and you have to take an active role in getting people from that social platform to your platform, something that you own and that you control. So number one, you need a platform. Now number two is you have to know your why. What your why is why you're doing what you're doing. Why is it that you want an audience in the first place? What value is it that you're going to be giving them? In order to build an audience, you have to know your why. What is it that you're going to be doing? Are you going to be inspiring them? Are you going to be informing them? Are you going to be educating them? What is the value that you're going to be delivering? Get crystal clear about that. Now, number three is you have to find your voice. Now, finding your voice and speaking up in a public way is hard. There's no bones about that. But you have to establish and start to think about what your tone of voice is. How are you going to talk about what you're going to talk about? What is the vibe that you're going to give off of? What is your point of view? What is the stand that you're going to take? Because you can't just kind of take the middle of the road. You really have to put yourself out there. You have to put a stake in the ground about what you believe in and what your perspective is on the value the value that you are delivering to your audience. So you need to find your voice. Now, number four is you need to capture sparks. And what I mean by capturing sparks is you, as a content developer and as someone who's trying to build an audience, have to stay inspired and have to, continually generate ideas of how you can bring value to your audience, because your audience is hanging on your every word, or at least you want them to. So you have to stay inspired and become this kind of content generation engine that they can rely on. So they're going to look to you for your idea sparks. So keep your eyes open for articles or blog posts or print or movies or what you see in the world or trends you see in the marketplace, whatever it is that inspires you, and make sure that you're keeping a list of ideas around what could be of value to your audience. In the last video, just talked about this. I always keep a Google Sheet open on my laptop that I capture ideas on. So whenever I come across something in my day, in an email, on a post, something I'm reading that inspires me, and I capture that spark in my idea list, because I know that that's something that I can have my take on, my point of view on, that I can share with my audience, and my audience will appreciate that, and therefore my audience will grow. Now, number five is you have to learn to create on demand. You have to become an audience building, content developing, point of view sharing machine. And what that means is you have to learn to be able to create when you're dry. You have to be able to create and produce something when you got nothing. When it comes right down to it, ask any journalist. The best motivation for developing something for a journalist is a deadline. So giving yourself a deadline and knowing that you need to produce something on a schedule is really going to help you. And that leads me to number six, which is you have to have a schedule. Set a schedule for yourself of when you're going to be delivering whatever you're delivering to your audience on a particular calendar. They have to be able to expect when to receive communication from you. One of the key things about building an audience is expectation. You want to establish a level of understanding that you're going to be delivering value to them on a regular basis, and that they can understand when that's going to happen. That will help build your audience. And you have to act like it's a job. You have to act like if you didn't hit that calendar that you're going to get fired, because that kind of deadline, that kind of certainty is the only thing that's going to keep you going, and it's the only thing that's going to keep your audience on the edge of their seats. Now, number seven is you have to learn how to recycle. And what I mean by recycling is you have to understand and learn how to repurpose your content or whatever it is that you're offering up to your audience. You can take a podcast and you can transcribe that podcast and turn it into an article or turn it into a blog post or turn it into a video or vice versa. And when you repurpose content across platforms, it exponentially expands your reach and its work. But you have to understand that audiences prefer different kinds of platforms. Some audiences prefer to listen to things. That's how they take in information. Other audiences like to watch things on video. Other audiences like to read them. So you have to be respectful that the fact that your audience might have a particular preference to how they want to consume content. So you have to understand how you're going to recycle your content to different platforms so you can build that audience. And focusing only on one kind of consumption model or one kind of audience is going to limit your audience. So the more that you can recycle and the more that you can kind of push out across different consumption modes, the greater chance you have of building a big audience. Now, number 8 is you have to learn how to hitch a ride. And what I mean by hitching a ride is you have to know how and teach yourself how to leverage other people's audiences. Now, I do this by, one of the things I do is I have my Brand MUSE interview series here on my YouTube channel. And if you haven't checked out any of those interviews, I have some really great ones. And some of the people that I have on have big audiences. And when I interview them, they will share their interview with their audience. And therefore, their audience comes to understand and know about me. And they may come to my channel and become part of my audience, and vice versa. I will also show up on video interviews or very frequently podcasts. And by showing up on someone else's platform, I'm exposed to their audience, and therefore their audience learns about me and may find their way to my channels of content. So you have to understand and learn how to hitch a ride onto other people's audiences. Another way you can do that is, my trend video for this year, I emailed Design Taxi and a couple other design websites and said, my video is very popular on your platform last year. Do you want to carry it this year? And they did. So they posted my trend video on Design Taxi, and that drove a whole lot of traffic and new people, new audience members to my site. So knowing how to hitch a ride is a great idea. Number 9 is you have to be consistent, and that goes right along with you have to set a schedule. You have to set up this level of understanding and this level of anticipation with your audience that you are going to show up on a regular basis in their feed. Because if you show up regularly, they're going to be able to recognize you easier, they're going to remember you better, and they're going to become audience members. So making sure that you're developing your content or whatever it is that you're offering, your podcast, your videos, whatever that is, you have to do it on a consistent basis. Like I say, you've heard me say it before, out of feed, out of mind. The more often that you show up, the more often you show up on a schedule across platforms, the better you're going to be building your audience. And finally, number 10, you got to engage. You got to create a conversation. The best way to build an audience is through engaging. So whenever you receive a comment on your podcast, on your blog, wherever it is, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, respond to the comment. Start a conversation. Really engage with your audience. Because the absolute best market, you can ask any marketer in the world, the best kind of marketing in the world is word of mouth. When someone shares what they like or what they know or what they've discovered with one of their friends. That is the best endorsement that you can get. So by engaging with people and establishing that human connection, that person-to-person connection, that is going to foster word-of-mouth marketing. They are more apt to share what you're doing with one of their friends. So absolutely engage. Number 10, very important. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video on the 10 things you need to do in order to build an audience. And if you did, please hit subscribe below and become one of my audience members. And make sure to hit that notifications button, because if you do, you're going to get notified when I post a new video, or more importantly, when I go live. Also, go to my website, philipvandusen.com/muse, M-U-S-E, and sign up for my newsletter and get on my mailing list, because that's where I'm going to be announcing the products, the exclusive content, book coming out, video courses, going live videos well in advance of when I do it. That's where I'm going to be sharing that stuff. So make sure to sign up for my email list and my newsletter. And with that, thanks again for watching. Bye for now.